Go ahead.
Now,
But that's what codependency is like. You rely on them to give you a reason to need them. Or opposite of that is that we put ourselves in a position where we need them.
this is how, I'm not saying this is one way that they, excuse me, I'm not saying this is the only way that how they divide and conquer, but this is, if we was in a positions of power and we really had power, I ain't talking about that fake ass shit. I'm talking about like real influence, real power, where we sit in certain seats or we just have certain powers in general to dictate how things go. It's kind of like the people is giving these people in positions of power, they're giving them the power because of what you just said, and that's so interesting because it's kind of like by the people accepting the terms that's given to them.
They don't see the little fine print. They don't see the fine print.
Oh
Like,
my God!
it's like, prime example, a man in office. They gave him that right to do whatever he wants to do.
Yes.
They said, here you go. It's your world. And now he's running where he wants to see it. Now they would have a problem with
And
it.
now that you have a
I didn't
problem.
vote for him, but those who did have a problem with it. Like, well, you put him in there.
That's what I didn't understand. If you gonna, but to see that further shows me that they no due diligence to any type of work, any type of craft, no inner work.
He falsified himself on the route, or what do they call it, while he was running. He lied. He purposely lied to convince people to believe in his favor.
Yes.
It's like he's talking about giving $2,000. You can't afford to get $2,000 every American. You can't.
Yeah. I don't know.
He did something recently. He gave, well, the whole thing about another country, I still don't get that. Why would you want to help another country? Two countries, actually. He had $10 billion to Argentina or something.
Argentina.
And then he's trying to help out with the war. That's not our war. You put yourself in a position to be a part of that. We need help here in this country. We have a lot of homeless people that don't have housing.
Yeah.
And the people that create housing for them, you want to shut them down.
Yes. Because
It's not fair to us as Americans. We are here. We were the most powerful country at one time. Now we're the wimpiest country. We're little bitches.
What's crazy is it can turn around like that. But if we keep along, the only thing I see, one of the things was, now I understand, and he is a businessman first. I tell people that he's a businessman first,
like a business.
and the president second. That's what it is. He's running the country like a business.
It's not a business.
And it's not the country itself. The land is not a business, but the corporations and all that type of stuff. But that's a whole different segment subject.
But ironically, you said that. I had something I was going to say. That's a way, in a sense, self-sabotaging. Americans sabotage themselves for putting so much faith in somebody that had reputation of just business.
Listen,
You never ran for a government position, or you have no understanding of the government standing. All you do is read it with the book.
that's my issue with things.
I like when you get like this.
That's my issue with things because I'm tired of the. Okay, you want to call somebody racist. You want to call somebody this. What I'm saying is, even if they are, you made these decisions.
But they're going to be in their position.
Come on, man, before we even get them in there. And it's like, y'all really want the real power? It seems like all they want is identity politics. Oh, we gonna do this.
Now it's
because
because
of-
people like, well, if you got a problem with it, run for the president. They don't want to do that. They don't do it. Stop complaining to me and go for the position.
Oh my God.
And they get upset like that. Don't complain. If you don't do something about it.
And that's why I have the smoke for things, not a competition. It's like that's why I'm willing to have these debates, willing to have these talks about these things, even with people that I don't, that we might not have the same ideologies, but that's okay. That's not what it's about.
It's about communicating and sharing information.
You know what I'm saying? Because and that's the problem too, people don't do research. When you research the past, there were civilizations or groups or tribes of people that didn't get along, but because they had this common understanding of self, they was able to coexist. You can coexist and not agree with somebody's
You don't
lifestyle.
have to agree with everything. You don't
That
have to
ain't
agree
got
with
shit to do with you. It
Life
ain't
is
none of your
it's
business.
not about agreeing with everybody's lifestyle. It's not about agreeing with everybody's opinion. It's about thinking of your self-growth and your self-worth in this country and what you can contribute. Let's get back to the topic because we're all off topic. Self-sabotage.
So all this things that we talking about is these lingering realities that come from self-sabotaging. And this one segment hits, like I said earlier, hits a lot with me because being a very powerful being slash entity, certain things don't affect us because it's a natural like armor that we have that we had since we was a kid. Because I always felt special. It didn't matter what situation I was in, what I was experiencing, what I was feeling. I always felt special, not an egotistical special, but like a I know who I am special. Infinite power,
There's a lot. You have to wear that. You have to wear those sleeves. You have to show everybody.
And
if
that's
you
what
live
I'm
to see
saying.
it, they'll see it.
Come on now,
They'll see it.
and that's when I realized too that this directly links to self-sabotaging because and he says this all the time, what's meant for you is going to present itself. And what's not meant for you is not going to be there. My problem was I was trying to make seasons stretch a lifetime.
I said to read about that.
And he sent me a few things about that, a few segments about that, and I had a real. My point is, me being so powerful.
You can just change that.
You think you can just change it, and it's not how it works. And that's exactly why I'm glad we having this segment because this is a real powerful segment because a lot of people struggle with this. You know what I mean? And I even see people that's around me that have the same like issues. It's either that and that'll lead to procrastination. That leads to a lot of things.
And that's self-sabotage in itself.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? And then even the people that came before me, I can see that they had that same light in them. And they maybe have certain desires in life that they want, or certain dreams, like if it was a job or any type of career, a hobby, or something they want to do for themselves, or something built for themselves or their family. They didn't do it because they let life like beat them down so much,
or get in the way and derail them. And you can't do that.
And that derailment is a distraction to distract you from that. You got yourself in this power. You don't realize that it's interconnected, meaning it's one and the same, but it's not at the same time because we live in duality. But that's a whole other subject.
We'll work on that one too.
You know what I'm saying? Because we gonna get deep. But the thing is, that distraction is placed in the middle, so you can't. So it can smear that connection between you and your power.
You don't see it obscures your view of the destination.
And every person that is a distraction, or every person that I'm gonna just use a person because we can't say really anything. Yeah, every person don't really understand that they distracting you. They just doing what they feel or what they got going on. You see what I'm saying? So, but that's my point is, it's up to you to make that decision for yourself. The society has tricked, or these powers that be has placed this false narrative that you go outside of yourself for everything, and that's why you manifest nothing. That's why we don't get anything, because we are looking for what you said, others to get to do things that we supposed to do for ourselves, and in turn you think it's supposed to fall in your lap out the sky. It's never going to happen. And that's just my whole point. And I learned this through experience because I used to do that. And then I grew up watching people have all of this power, have the money, have all of these things, but they didn't graduate to a higher level because they were stuck in this mindset.
That's the thing, being stuck in their mindset.
And then all of that distractions, you eventually gonna get stuck. You're gonna get in the loop, and then everything gonna start just disarray. You ever see somebody in their life where they doing like this? It's plateau off, boom, just like that, just like a stock. It's like a stock line. It be going up, and it just plateau. Boom, they drop off the face of the earth. There's no consistency,
and you don't see any growth. And you can see whether or not you're still growing in somebody else. You can actually see if they're growing from what you said or what they've learned in their life. At some point, you're going to see that they stop growing and they stop learning from their life experience, and that becomes a trap in being self-sabotaging too, because you don't go out there and try to find out what you need to find out to sell yourself. And like with me and my music, I've had people tell me stop doing music. Yesterday, I played 5 songs for somebody. Out of those 5, they like all 4 at once. The last song I played for them, the first song I played for them, is that they like the second one. They liked it more than the first one. Every song I played for them, progressively, they like more because they heard consistency. And with that consistency in my music, they want me to actually be more like that. I'm trying to. But that becomes a problem because I don't want to stay in that box.
No.
Because one person likes it doesn't mean everybody's going to like it.
And to piggyback off of that, do not allow nobody to tell you what you can and can't do. I've seen this on this Pursuit of Happiness movie with Will Smith, and when he said that, when I remember I was in middle school, I think I was in the 6th grade when I had seen that. And what that told me is that's the same thing that my parents was telling me. And the reason, and now I understand why my parents was heavy instilling that into me, because it makes a lot of sense. And from my experiences, I was like, it makes sense what he's saying, because if I did not, you can't listen to what everybody telling you. And what I'm saying is, and what I mean by that is, just because sometimes they may be telling you you can't do it because they don't see themselves doing it.
That's
And where I'm from, that's called projection.
And you project negativity on everybody else, and they will feed off of that, and you can't grow from that. You
No,
have to
you
project
can't.
your own reality for yourself. You have to be able to say for self-motivating yourself.
And that's important.
Do
That's very
you
important.
can, no matter what anybody says. You can, and you will achieve it.
Yes, and that's why it's important to go inward, because your power is coming inward. I don't care what you say or nobody say. Your power comes inward. Everything comes from inside. You know what I mean? So that's definitely this subject is very deep. And the thing I'm gonna say about this, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Tego, is anything that I wanted in my life, right? Especially recently in the past 2 years. Everything, the reason why it's important to stick to your guns or stay in your lane and go based upon what your desires were, regardless of how impossible it may seem. Because remember, the things that we use today, where everybody uses, an average everyday American person use in general, at one point in time was probably considered impossible. Until somebody was like, I'm doing this regardless of what anybody say.
Exactly.
Come on,
comes goal.
boom. So, and my point is, so any car I wanted, any type of house or apartment I wanted to get, or anything like that. For one, when I was growing up, I was hearing these things about, it didn't necessarily have to come from my family, but it was coming from people, and it was coming to me so much to where I was starting to understand this mentality in different type of communities. So this particular community that I'm speaking on right now is, this is not tailored to sexual orientation, race, gender. This can go across the spectrum, across the board. One thing I noticed is, just say for instance, right, if you're trying to get a car, right, or proof for a loan, right, so anything with that is dealing with credit. So a lot of people don't understand or know anything about credit, so they kind of afraid of it. And then I was hearing things like, oh, no, don't get a new car because you're going to have a car, no, you're going to have a payment.
That's what life is.
But that's what life is. But then from my experiences, me taking the time out, sitting down, literally reading books, being on YouTube University, I like to call it, through all of these preparations and actually doing the work and being in the field myself, not just from what regurgitating information, I've learned the power of credit. Then I started realizing that these people have no idea how this works. So they're speaking from fear is my entire point. And they're projecting onto you, because they're like, oh, I don't see myself getting this new car. I don't really want this new car for myself, because maybe where they come from, they was being told the same thing. That's why you can't listen to everybody. Because if I listen to everybody, I would not have gotten that new car. And then thus I would not have understood how this process works. Now, I'm one of the first people that I know around me that ever went on a lot to buy a new car that's on a certain tier level without putting no money down. And not a lot of people can say that even for their first car. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, because I went through this and experienced this heavily. And now I understand how these things actually work. So, and why this goes back to self-sabotaging, stick to your guns. Sometimes people can see this, they may want you to do good, but they don't want you to do better than them.
Yeah.
And I realized that by them not wanting you to do better than them, they will, by them knowing that you're working towards something, they will try to implant certain things to you, even if it's nice gestures, even if it's things that seem positive. That implant was to deter you off of your goal. Because who are you to take an initiative upon yourself to do exactly what you intended and set out for yourself to do? And I'll hand it over to Tego.
That's why people who start businesses are successful, because they think about what they can do, not what somebody's telling them that they can't do.
That he just summed it up And what this whole storybook I just said, he summed it up in a few words, and that's pretty much all I'm saying.
We also have to be, before we end this segment, we're gonna talk about we have to be able to say goodbye to people that are not meant to be in our lives for our purpose. If we're not in a position to say goodbye to them, we'll be stuck as well.
This is important, and I'm gonna tell you why when he get done. This is very important, and from my perspective,
We have to be able to say, oh, it's okay to say goodbye and be comfortable with that, because we don't want to say goodbye to anybody because we feel like you're in our life for a reason. If we don't learn what that reason is, we're SOL.
okay.
But you have to be able to say goodbye to people that are not meant to be there, for whatever reason. They're not meant for your growth, they're not meant for your well-being, they're not meant for your mental stability. They're just not meant to be in your life. You need to learn from them what you can while they're there and be okay with them going away. Regardless of the thing, if they're meant to go, let them go and they'll come back if they're meant for you. True enough. But if they come back, then what did you learn the first time? You have to ask yourself that. And we have to be all right with asking ourselves, is this person really meant for our future, or was it because we want them to be in our future? Are we going with this person being in our lives, or are we just happy to have somebody in our life? Because nobody wants to be lonely. Nobody wants to be alone.
No, nobody. Even people who are okay with being by themselves.
They can be okay. You can be okay all you want. But I don't. I need somebody
You know what I'm saying?
come home to.
Yeah.
They want me to cook something to eat.
Yeah, I love self. I love being with self, being around self. I love it. It's a reset for me. But at the same time, I don't care how lonely, or excuse me, I don't care how much a person loves being by themselves. Being alone versus being lonely is two different things. So
Being alone is just being by yourself in a space. Being alone is when you need somebody to give you that connection, that self-worth that you hear from somebody else.
that humans naturally
That
have.
human attraction, we need that. I'm gonna cut all this off.
Yeah,
But
that's why I ain't
we're
tripping.
gonna end this segment. And our next segment is going to be, you mentioned it earlier, I gotta remember what you said. I'm gonna get a minute.
Yeah, that'll be your thing. You can always remember.
Another replacement is another one by.
So what was you talking about?
You were talking. It's some word you said. We'll figure it out. What is it? You were saying, I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to write it down on my phone or something so I remember. But,
Yeah, even if you just on
right,
notes or
exactly,
something.
right,
Yeah.
exactly what we do.
And what?
But it's gonna be a good subject for next time.
Most definitely. Yeah, this is we might part two. You know what I'm saying?
We're already in two parts. We part 3 or 4 it.
That's right. I forgot. You talking about the segments, and then it's like chapters in the book.
Right,
Got you.